songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
If you like finding creative solutions to helping people be better day in and day out, if you are somebody who gets a lot of satisfaction out of being able to make your community a better place, I mean, there really is no better place to do that than in Parks and Recreation's field. It's very satisfying to be able to build things for the community and just see the impact that you have day in and day out. It's very rewarding work.
Here we go. All right. This is Craig LeBlanc. Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series, the original show that started it all with the creation of DPRS Media Network. We are now a group of shows producing content for the industry of parks and recreation, covering topics like aquatics. Our On the Front Line show talks about the military and what we do on military bases. And yeah, so I'll talk about each one of those in a minute, but just wanted to welcome everybody. Today we have a special guest from the City of Alpharetta in Georgia. Alan Sanders will be our guest today. But let's go ahead and pull up our little YouTube promo. So we're really making a push to get the word out about our YouTube channel. So most of our stuff started on LinkedIn and Facebook, but our whole content library, along with all the playlists for all the different shows, exists on YouTube. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll be able to stream everything live on YouTube, in addition to Facebook, LinkedIn, X, all the other places that we put it out there. And all of our content can now be found on Spotify. So if you're one of those runners that likes to listen, or drivers, to work, you can listen to our content on Spotify, and everything is available right now on YouTube. So really appreciate all the love and support that we're getting from the whole Parks and Rec community. If you want to do us a big favor, go subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can get the word out about what's going on in Parks and Rec. So let me go ahead and show somewhat of a TV guide here. Next, these are all the shows that we have currently. We'll be launching 3 new shows within the next probably 30 days. One of the interesting ones we're launching is called the History Channel, or it's going to be Historic Parks and Rec. So if you have a historic park that you would like us to do an exclusive on, we would love to kind of cover the kind of historic value of, let's say you have like a historic downtown that you're revitalizing through the park systems, or you have an old legacy park that's been at the heart of your community for the last 100 years, or you have some grand opening of a aquatic center or something that y'all are launching. We would love to do a special show just on that. So reach out to me on LinkedIn. That show, I think we're going to do our first episode this coming Monday. That's going to be a 3 p.m. show. But let's go ahead and go to the shows that are running right now. This show here, the Leadership Series, kind of started it all. It's Monday through Thursday, 12 noon Eastern time, where we highlight the careers of Parks and Rec professionals across America, sharing their stories, how they got into Parks and Rec, their why, and kind of what they're doing that might be unique or special that we want to share with the rest of the Parks and Rec community. All right, so then after that, on Mondays, we have the Parks and Tech Collective with the help of Amelia, where we talk about all things on the software side of Parks and Rec. So software is really just revolutionizing how we communicate with our community, how people sign up for our programming, and really is a great show. And that's on the first Monday of every month. Then on the second and fourth Monday of every month, with the help of Dave Ramirez, show sponsored by Outdoor Link, we do Smart Parks Forward, where we talk about the hardware that's coming in from a technology side. So think about the smart city. So how does your park system become like a smart park? And so really great conversation, especially since we have all these robotics, AI, and all these different Internet of Things devices that are coming in and helping us to run our park systems way more efficiently. All right, so next, on Tuesday, every Tuesday for the entire year of 2026, John Prue has produced something called On the Front Line, the Military Rec Show, highlighting all the careers the MWR specialists. So MWR is basically Parks and Rec for the military. And John likes to call it the Parks and Rec on steroids, because they do everything. They have like restaurants, they have bars, they have huge events for the troops, even on like aircraft carriers. In addition to everything else you would see in a regular Parks and Rec department, from programming, facilities, maintenance, that kind of stuff. That's all happening on all 300 military bases. And the guy in charge of that, I found out yesterday, is called the Fun and Fit Boss. And so if you're over the Parks and Rec department of the military base, that's your title. I was like, now that's a cool title. Maybe the rest of the industry should take that on, because you really are the fun and fit boss for your community. All right, so next we have safe spaces and green spaces. Now we're doing a show today. And so we initially started this show with Thomas White to cover neurodivergence, mental health, and we were just going to do on the first Wednesday of every month. But now we're going to do it on the first and third Wednesday of every month. This is the third Wednesday of this month, I believe. And so he's having a show right after this show. Next, we have also on Wednesdays, we have the Rec Room with the help of Henry County, Georgia. Henry County has now recorded the Rec Room for a full year. So we made our anniversary last week. And it's where Henry County goes in and picks a topic of Parks and Rec, has all the stakeholders, and really dives in deep to a specific topic that we choose each month. So whether it's how Henry County does master planning, or does a festival, or does aquatics, and you really get to kind of pull the curtain back and see all the details of how a very well-run Parks and Rec department handles all the issues that comes up in Parks and Rec. All right, so next we have Arts and Park and Rec, also today at 3 p.m. with the help of, now this is on the first and third Wednesday of each month. Beatrice, a very gifted and talented ballet dancer and choreographer who has an extensive network of Parks and Rec professionals that are in the arts side of Parks and Rec. So, you know, I have all these different programming that comes through your Parks and Rec department, but this is geared towards the performing arts, the visual arts. And so we wanted to highlight what's going on in Parks and Rec when it comes to arts programming. All right, so next we have the Youth Sports Mastery Show, also a show that's looking to expand. So right now we've been doing it for well over a year. This is one of our oldest shows with the help of Aaron Locks, who is, to me, one of the country's best spokespersons when it comes to rec sports. That's all inclusive. That's not just all the elite D1 athletes, you know, but it's like all the little kids at every different level of athleticism, and how that's so important to really keep a lot of that stuff going, to making sure that every child has full access to all the different sports that you offer. And so we're looking at doing a second show with him at 4:30 p.m. on Tuesdays, and still maintain the every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, so next we have the Young Professionals Network. And so Young Professionals Network, if you are a college student that's pursuing a degree that will eventually lead you to Parks and Recreation, this is the show for you. Also, if this is your first 1 to 5 years in Parks and Rec, and you're really just trying to get your network built and kind of meet the young professionals, this is your show. But then also, if you're a professor that's teaching at the university on Parks and Rec degrees, if you are a mentor, or if you're one of those very few internship programs. So if you are a Parks and Rec department and you have an internship program where during the summers you'll bring a college intern and kind of show them everything in Parks and Recreation, we would love to have you and a couple of your interns come on the show. And we've had that a few times. It's been really good shows. So that's 5 p.m. every Thursday. Brings us to Friday. One of our latest shows is Papa J with the Dr. Pepper Social Club. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern time. Papa J is now officially retired last Friday. And so now he's coming on as one of our very talented show hosts, highlighting the careers of Parks and Rec professionals. And our last show of the week is the Aquatics Life Show, every Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Wesley King has done an amazing job producing evergreen content that really could be used as continuing education for anyone in aquatics. So I encourage everyone in aquatics to go check out on our YouTube channel Wesley's playlists for the Aquatics Life, and just press play on any of them. I promise you, you're going to get something out of it if you're an aquatics professional in Parks and Rec. So that's our lineup for the week. let's go ahead and pop up the YouTube promo, encouraging everybody to we're trying to make a big push to hit 1,000, hopefully by the end of the month. I think we picked up close to 100 just in that last week that we pushed. So if we can get another couple hundred each week, we'll get there. So really appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and play the transition video. This will be maybe the last week we get to play this one because Chris is working on a newly updated one, thanks to all the input from our talented show hosts. And then play the Aquatics Life promo, and then we'll come right back and start our conversation with Alan.
It's not just water. It's responsibility. It's leadership. It's not just drowning prevention or water safety. It's life. And every day, aquatics professionals make decisions that save lives. Because aquatics is more than swim lessons. It's community. It's creativity. It's impact. For over 30 years, aquatics hasn't just been my profession. It's been my life. I've seen the challenges, the pressure, the grind, but I've also seen the power of great leadership and what happens when communities come together. This is where education meets entertainment, where real conversations happen, where aquatics professionals come together to learn, lead, and grow. Because aquatics should bring people together. This is Aquatics Life, streaming on DPRS Media Network.
All right, Alan, welcome to the show. How's your week going so far?
It's going good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. So how did you get involved in Parks and Rec? I remember you told me that you grew up and your father was in Parks and Rec for a long time. So did he kind of involve you as a kid throughout the whole thing, kind of dragging you to all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's my story is very typical, I feel, for people who have parents in this industry. You're definitely going to grow up around it. If anything, it was a way to kind of be the man on the inside with some of these programs.
Yeah. Do you remember what was the first Parks and Rec thing he kind of drugged you to?
I have very specific memories of being young and going to some regattas that his Parks and Rec system kind of hosted. Just the sights and the sounds and the people, and just being involved in that. Had very specific memories of being in camps. Through the summer. It's kind of very full circle moment that I can now do this as a career and provide those same opportunities for people that I had growing up.
Is he still active in Parks and Rec?
He is still working in local government, but not specifically Parks and Recreation.
Yeah. So when did you notice? Because oftentimes kids want to do the exact opposite of what their parents do, but then sometimes they have a great experience and want to kind of follow in their footsteps. So when did that kind of start to materialize in your head that you might want to do this as a career?
It's always something that I've known about. I mean, I've been very familiar with the field, and it's always kind of been there. But going into college, it wasn't something that immediately was my first choice. Admittedly, I started out in sciences, and then had some internships and Parks and Recreation, and kind of was working in the field through high school and college, and that is the point where I really truly fell in love with the profession. And and had that moment where it just clicked and realized this is something I could do the rest of my life, something that I wanted to do, and kind of never looked back
Yeah.
since.
Yeah, I was in sciences as well. I think I was in pre-med for 2 years, and then I, shifted to engineering, and none of those credits transferred. So I had to it was which sciences were you in, for your first couple years in college?
I was just more or less taking some general, trying to
Uh-huh.
find a direction for myself. I very briefly majored in packaging science.
What is that?
Um,
Packaging.
the study of the materials and branding for packaging and marketing.
Oh, nice.
Like think, a bag of chips at the store. Somebody's gonna need to design that packaging to be marketable, but also to have it be transported and food safe. And it's a very interesting field, but
Yeah.
wasn't the one for me.
Didn't even know you could get a degree in that. And so
Yeah.
did you actually eventually shift to a more of a Parks and Rec focus degree?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had that moment where it all clicked for me, and then, like I said, didn't look back. Immediately started majoring in Parks and Recreation, changed my major, and then immediately was just eager to kind of dive in feet first into the field, start learning as much as I could, and taking internships where I could.
And what'd your dad think when you kinda made that shift?
I think he is and still is are very very happy with that choice.
Yeah.
Of course, could have done whatever I wanted to, but I think he definitely lives vicariously through me just a little
Right.
bit. He's always just excited to hear what I'm working on and what kind of projects we have going on here in Alpharetta.
Yeah.
Um,
Now what, so you were able to take some classes back then. What were some of the things that you kinda learned that you find are useful today now that you're employed full-time in Parks and Rec?
Um, there, I think starting out in that coursework and just what a lot of people probably picture immediately with Parks and Rec is like programming.
Yeah.
Um, and then you go and you study this as a field, and you start to have the government administration field kind of bleed into that, where you are having to consider things like policy and operations. Parks and Rec is just such a broad and kind of multifaceted field. There's so many things that you wouldn't immediately consider, that play a role in the field. That you know.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to programming, I know really when I got exposed to Parks and Recreation, I never really put myself in the mindset of what is a program and how does it serve the community. So, what, how did you kind of learn about that? And then when you started to live that real time working in the Parks and Rec department, is there anything else that you kind of learned along the way when it came to programming?
I Not everything is going to immediately work,
Yeah.
and that can be very frustrating. I've personally been very fortunate that I've had the flexibility to kind of just see what works over time. Um, but Parks and Rec, you're definitely having to kind of you know keep with the times and follow trends, but also provide things that are interesting and fun for the community, things that'll benefit the community. Um, and there are programs that you will definitely get excited about and really, have a big plan for, but they're not always going to be popular immediately, or maybe financially not feasible. But that was one of the earliest lessons I had to learn, is that not everything is going to work. You just got to kind of move past it and get started with the next thing.
Yeah. Now, imagine you're sitting in front of like a group of college kids and you've got a little class and you're like, all right, we're going to give y'all a how to start a program 101. What are the basic building blocks, and then how do you measure if it's succeeding or if it's failing, or kind of the things you use to dial it in?
I mean, they're immediately less fun real world constraints that you have to consider, just feasibility
Mhm.
issues, budget. Um, but it kind of starts with an idea. I mean, like I said, a lot of Parks and Rec programming, you are going to want to keep an eye on trends and create programs that are going to either help a lot of people, or are particularly fun or creative, something that might not be offered everywhere, something that might try to fill a gap in the community. You're just trying to you have to read between the lines, and kind of figure out what necessarily a community might either be very respondent to or might need.
Yeah.
Um, so at least for me, um, designing and implementing new programs has been a lot of trying to read between the lines,
Yeah.
and just try to figure out what will work or what people really respond to.
Yeah. Now, usually when we think of programming, sports obviously comes to mind, but there's so many other programs that are run in parks and recreation. Has there been any other parts outside of, rec sports that you've enjoyed creating program, whether it's for the seniors or aquatics or maybe for arts or anything like that?
Yeah, I my previous role with Alpharetta was in athletics,
Mm.
which is something I deeply love, but I'm now primarily focusing on health and wellness programming, senior programming, and it's been a lot of fun. There's new challenges that come with it, trying to shift your focus into something that can look very radically different from sports and leagues. Um, senior programming presents a new challenge. You're wanting to create something that might be a little more adaptive.
Mhm.
Health and wellness, um, exercise opportunities for maybe some people who aren't into sports, or just trying to create community wellness opportunities, opportunities for people to kind of build community and get to know each
Yeah.
other. Um, Parks
Now,
and
are
Rec
there
is such a broad field.
Yeah, it really is. So what are some, programs that y'all have found successful or unique for when it comes to seniors?
Seniors, we have a lot of health and wellness programming specifically adapted to the specific skill level of seniors. I know we have like a just today at the Preston Ridge Community Center, we had like adaptive Pilates, we have strength and stretch classes, and then we have the same kind of programs that we would have elsewhere in our Parks and Rec system, but specifically blocked off for seniors. We have like senior ping pong, line dancing usually gets a big crowd here.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so just trying to
Now,
um,
do y'all do anything for, how involved are you with, like, the festivals or, like, the special events? Do you ever dip your toe in that, or have you had exposure to that yet?
I kind of act as support, but I don't specifically coordinate our events. We're very fortunate to have a very large Parks and Rec department. We have a specific division in our Rec Services division specifically dedicated to special events programming.
Yeah, yeah. Now, have you been active with, GRPA or NRPA throughout the years? Any exposure there?
Yeah, I'm a member of NRPA, GRPA, and SCRPA currently.
Ah, okay. What's SRPA? That's the
South Carolina
South
Recreation
Carolina.
Partners.
Okay. And so what do you think about attending those? What's kind of the main takeaway or benefit if you were kind of encouraging people to attend those events?
I mean, especially for young people, definitely highly encourage um, the opportunity to collaborate and learn and network with people is unmatched. I mean, it's such a wonderful resource to have that it's hard to hard to live in Parks and Rec without them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really is a great place to network. And former entrepreneur mentor of mine always said, "Life is a contact sport," and it's like it's who you know. And it's amazing how you can have somebody that's been doing something for so long, and here you come trying to fill their shoes, and they can just kind of hand you their roadmap that they found over the years, and that can really just propel you. As you're kind of climbing the ladder, trying to learn everything, versus having to make all the same mistakes they made. My mentors used to always say, "I hope you make new mistakes, like, and don't repeat the ones that I made." Has your dad kind of been a mentor like that to you over the years, or is there anyone else that's been a good mentor to you?
Oh, my dad has definitely been a resource to me. Like I said, he definitely likes to live vicariously through me a little bit, just see what's going on and my neck of the woods. But he's great to talk to kind of bounce ideas off of. Some of my better Parks and Rec programs have been ones that just casually bouncing ideas and kind of tooling the ideas with him over just a conversation that we'd have over a meal or over a holiday.
Yeah. Now, so you had mentioned that in the future you'd like to aspire to be a Parks and Rec director. What are the areas that you'd like to get more exposure to that you feel like you want to maybe get a little bit better at as you kind of move up?
I mean, there's definitely I never want to be at a point where I'm done learning. I want
Yeah.
to be able to continue to grow, and part of that is just finding opportunities to experience all the different aspects that Parks and Recreation has. I mean, events and parks. Parks specifically is very radically different from like recreation.
Yeah.
Um, so
Now, is there
just want to.
anything? Oh, go
Sorry.
ahead. So is there anything, or have you had to learn anything about facilities maintenance or, project management or any of that kind of stuff? Have you had any exposure to that yet?
Yeah, definitely opportunities. There are a lot of overlaps. I mean, especially with like athletics. There are opportunities to work on capital improvements projects of different sizes, whether that'll be maintenance and remodeling to like a basketball court, or recently I was involved with an overhaul of our disc golf courses. Um, Things like that. Our Parks and Rec department's currently undergoing a large kind of transformation, some updates at our softball fields. So it's getting some experience with that, and now with my new role here, I'm getting a lot more experience with facility operations,
Yeah.
which has presented some new challenges, a lot that I'm very excited about.
So how would you define, for somebody that's maybe not familiar with the industry, how would you define what is facility operations and at least your role in it?
There, it's a lot like how I described Parks and Rec earlier. I mean, a lot of people have a base understanding of what might go into it, scheduling and stuff like that, but then you have a lot of like public administration tenets that kind of bleed over. You have things to consider like security and maintenance, um, personnel, policy. You start to see some of those concepts bleed over. Um, uh, yeah, so it's not one to one the same with like programming. There, it just provides new opportunities to kind of learn and experience a very different part of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about your internship program and your experience with that and kind of how that maybe prepared you for, what you're doing today. So, how long did you do, or did you do multiple internship programs?
So I did several throughout high school and college. Worked part time with like summer camps, And then specifically for Clemson's Parks and Recreation undergraduate degree, you have to complete an internship and 2 practicum experiences.
Mhm.
Different in requirement, but functionally, essentially 3 internships. I worked with a recreation center on Clemson's campus, and then later, as part of an kind of an intern park ranger with Oconee County, South Carolina. That definitely helped me to kind of get some skills in very different areas of the field.
Mm. Now, what was so this was it a part-time or a full-time job during that summer? You had to show up maybe 8 hours a day or 4 hours a day? What was kind of and you're still going to class at this time, right?
I am yeah. At that time, um, finishing out my degree, and at least with one of those that was part-time work that I could kind of do within. And then as I got closer and closer to that degree, started taking on more hours. Specifically my internship with Oconee County was essentially full-time. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Okay.
got a lot of work in trying to finish that degree.
Yeah, I think and unfortunately, a lot of Parks and Rec departments don't yet offer internship programs, but I think it's a great opportunity not only to help um, invest in those future leaders of Parks and Rec, but also a lot of their future hires come from these internship programs where they ended up hiring full time the people that did the internships. And so I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, what do we do with the internship? But with the interns when they're there, but so many of the directors have found ways to really make that not only impactful in them, but they actually get some real work done. They hand them real programs and get them to kind of help contribute to the workforce there. So highly encourage everyone to get their internship program going. All right, so we'll take a quick commercial break to thank a couple of our show sponsors. And then when we come back, Carlo, if you want to queue up the essential why Parks and Rec are essential. I wanted to play that when we get back and have Alan comment on it. But so our show sponsors for today are Outdoor Link and the National Academy of Athletics, 2 great companies that have really been with us since the beginning. We've all heard of these smart homes that we have, and where you can kind of control everything from your cell phone. And to imagine if your whole city's infrastructure was also able to be controlled, whether it's splash pads or you can lock the bathroom door locks after a certain hour, or you can control your parking lot lights or sports field lights, all from an iPad or an iPhone or something. That way you're not having to like make copies of keys and with coaches and they leave the lights on at Sunday night and you get a call from a neighbor saying they left the lights on. So Outdoor Link has been doing this for quite a while. They've been a great sponsor of ours. And then the National Academy of Athletics. So if you have a program in your community that they really want to launch, but maybe you don't have the staff for it or the coaching for it, maybe it's a flag football league or a pickleball league, they can kind of run all this turnkey for you and really partner with them. But they also make sure that no kid gets left behind. So it's not like about creating some elite team of athletes. It's more or less saying, how do we make sure that this program is open to your entire community? And so why don't you go ahead and play those 2 promos and we'll come back and finish up our conversation with Alan.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs, we're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
All right. So, Alan, you had mentioned about the National Alliance of Youth Sports. Tell us more about that. How did you discover it, and then what's kind of their mission statement?
I had kind of discovered it through work. It's a professional organization that I've been certified through. They typically work to expand, opportunities and dialogue about youth sports. Been to their conference several times. I'm certified as a certified youth sports administrator through them. They've, especially since I've been working in athletics, they've been a big help in providing resources and opportunities to collaborate and network in the same way that professional organizations like GRPA have helped me.
Yeah, and that's a do they meet? They have an annual meeting for that. That's kind of like
They have a conference yearly.
Yeah. And so what does that certification look like? Is it like a 6-week training course you kind of do online, and what do you get out of that?
For me, it was a couple days of training. It just providing resources and an opportunity to learn about the field and trends, ways to go about providing safe and inclusive spaces. As a young professional, it definitely helped me get a better idea of athletics as a field, and provide some resources that I could then impart upon people in my programs to be able to help them become better administrators and coaches within youth sports.
Yeah. Now, were you at all involved in the Young Professionals Network, either at the state level or the national level? Have you heard of that?
I have kind of been aware, but not necessarily an active participant as much as I maybe like to be.
Yeah, it's free with your membership. So if you're already a member of NRPA, they just meet online. They do a monthly meetup. It's like a Zoom call, and they have a guest speaker. And then I think once a year at the NRPA meeting, they have like a get together where they all kind of network and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely look into that. It's a great resource. And there's actually a few directors that are a part of it that within their first 1 to 5 years, they're already up to the director level, all the way down to they're part of a big department and they're really just learning the industry, learning the ropes, but they do some really good content. I've attended a couple of those. So for all those young professionals out there listening, you should definitely, if you're already a part of NRPA, your dues are paid. So it's kind of a free resource at that point to access a great network of young professionals coming into the industry. All right, so tell me a little bit more about your master's that you're pursuing. What kind of pushed you over the edge to pursue that?
Like I said, I never want to be in a place where I feel like I'm done.
Yeah.
There's always things to learn about and ways to kind of grow as a a Parks and Rec and government professional. And I just got to a point where that was a big interest of mine, and now I'm able to pursue that. In my second year at Clemson University, I'm enrolled in their Masters of Public Administration program. So working to study kind of the ins and outs of local government, or just government administration as a whole. Love to be able to apply that to my craft in Parks and Recreation, and just be able to explore it as a field deeper. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So how far along are you when are you looking to graduate on that?
So I'm in my second year, still awaiting some results on my comprehensive exams, but hoping that spring 2027 going to be walking the stage.
Yeah. So do you see yourself going for your PhD after that, or you're going to kind of call it quits at the master's level, or what do you think?
I've considered it. I just think for me in my career, I think the master's degree might be a good place to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Your next one after that might be trying to pursue your CPRE. That's a big one. I think there's only been, I discovered the other day, did you know there's only about 1,000 Parks and Rec professionals nationwide that have ever attained that? It's like,
is that true?
Yeah, that's what I heard from,
Wow.
It's around that number, because I talked to a guy that recently got his, and he said he was under, they hadn't quite reached 1,000 mark. So they might've surpassed it by now. And everybody that does it is like really scared, and they said it's very extensive, and so a lot of people shy away from it. But tell us about how you got your CPRP. What is that, and how has that been useful to you?
So for those of you who don't know, CPRP is Certified Parks and Recreation Professional. It is conferred by NRPA, the National Recreation and Parks Association, and it just to kind of explain it in a very basic way, just certifies that you are a certain level of you have a certain understanding of the intricacies of Parks and Rec as a profession, and have an idea of what it looks like to be able to function and provide parks and programming with a certain level of efficacy. Kind of teaches you the ins and outs of programming and management, administration, yeah. Got mine a couple of years ago.
Fantastic. So let's dig into your why. So why have you chosen Parks and Rec as a career path? And now that you've been in it for a few years, why do you find it, what do you find fulfilling about it?
I love it. To be very selfish, it's something that gives me a good feeling. Parks and Rec, more than other departments of government, is very public facing. Something with Parks and Rec where you are working so collaboratively with the public and providing services. Parks and Rec gives you a chance to very immediately see the results or the community impact from the work that you're doing. I mean, something like public works, I mean, equally as important to any successful city. But there's a degree of separation from the work that somebody in public works would do. You don't immediately see the effects of that work, but in Parks and Recreation, I mean, you can put together a program and then immediately see people come into that program and just see very immediately the change that you're bringing into a community. And it's unlike anything else. It's very satisfying to see.
Yeah. Well, we have a video that we've made a while ago on why Parks and Rec is an essential service. unfortunately, or actually maybe fortunately, during COVID, a lot of Parks and Rec departments were shut down. Everybody sent home and the parks were closed. And it was then that I think the communities of America started to realize the value of their park systems. And they were like all came out with pitchforks saying, we need to open our parks back up. And so that was great coming from the community demanding that the park systems be reopened. And I think it's created a level of engagement and investment in parks that probably we would not have been able to attain without that event that happened in 2020. So, Carla, why don't you go ahead and play that video? And I'd love to get Alan's feedback on it and see why he also thinks that Parks and Rec is an essential service for each community.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present. Parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right. So what'd you think of our little video we made, and why do you think Parks and Rec is essential services?
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, no, Parks and Rec, absolutely an essential service for any community. Unfortunately, can get overlooked, and especially in smaller communities with less resources, just because the effects of it are a little less tangible than other services, essential functions of a city. But definitely, Parks and Rec nonetheless important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the opportunity there is, even though we look at fire and health and police as an essential service, it really is on the reactive side of service. And so if you have an unhealthy community and kids just on the streets with nothing to do with their time, and I think that's kind of where they get into trouble. But if, on the flip side, if you have a healthy community with great programming and the kids are engaged and they're all doing productive activities and stuff and growing, then really a lot of these other departments don't have to show up. The police are kind of maybe hopefully just twiddling their thumbs with nothing to do. That would be the sign of a healthy community. I think the least amount of police you have in a community is a sign of a healthy community versus having to have massive police forces and stuff. And so I think the Parks and Rec is the side that's saying we're proactive. So imagine you're speaking in front of a group of decision makers that are controlling the funding of Parks and Rec. So like your city council or your mayor or your city manager, and they're not immersed in Parks and Rec like you are and like the rest of the Parks and Rec professionals. So what would be your message to them as to what they might want to consider as to why Parks and Rec is essential?
There is something to be said about the resilience building that Parks and Rec does. Not only are you providing opportunities for people to meet and gather as a community, but you're building bridges and providing equity. You are providing opportunities for inclusivity and providing community wellness opportunities. There's so many things that Parks and Rec does for community that other services might not be able to cover. Parks and Rec kind of fills in all of those gaps. In terms of resilience, it just kind of bolsters everything else that you have.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does, because a connected community, it's kind of like if you live in one of these neighborhoods and you just never meet your neighbors and you're just all strangers that kind of live on the same block. And so Parks and Rec professionally get the people out of their homes and into the community and give them reasons to just connect and attend festivals together, attend program together. And then you got a community that wants to bet on the community itself because this is like their people. And so I think if you had a government department that said, hey, we got a bunch of strangers living on the same plot of land, how do we make them not strangers? This is what Parks and Rec does professionally, literally year round.
Yeah, just with neighbors. I mean,
Yeah.
even just providing a space where two people can meet and have conversations, as basic as that sounds, that's resilience building.
Yeah.
You're just something as simple as that, just providing a space has an instant effect on your community.
Yeah.
You're providing more value to the people just by showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's easy for a community to fall apart when they just don't know one another. But then once there's a tight-knit bond between, and the community's like, okay, this is our community and we want it to thrive. And so that's when you get engagement, and they even start to bring their kids and do family reunions and attend all the festivals. And to me, that, like you said, that's building resilience within the community, so that as these natural life events show up that might be kind of tragic, they're connected and they're strong. They're not alone and isolated. Maybe you can speak about how your senior programs helps fight isolation, because I know as you get older, a lot of your friends are just pass away, and now you find yourself alone. And so through Parks and Rec programming, especially for the seniors, it's where they're no longer isolated and they can build a community. So maybe talk about how Parks and Rec really helps bring the community together and fight isolation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that senior programming can do. I mean, not only for physical well-being, and we definitely have in Alpharetta our fair share of that. Senior programming designed with health and wellness in focus. But there is something to be said about the value that it provides through mental well-being. Like we said, community building, being able to provide that space. I mean, just having is, like I said, as basic as it sounds, just having something to look forward to every week and people to see. It can have such a tremendous impact on a senior population or population of people at any age.
Yeah. All right. So help me pitch the industry to the college kids out there. So imagine you're sitting in front of a classroom of college kids that, kind of like we were in our early days of college, didn't know what the heck we wanted to do, really hadn't found that thing we're passionate about. So what would be your testimony to college kids that are undecided? What would be your testimony to the industry as why they may want to consider this as a career path?
If you like finding creative solutions to helping people be better day in and day out, if you are somebody who gets a lot of satisfaction out of being able to make your community a better place, I mean, there really is no better place to do that than in Parks and Recreation as a field.
Yeah.
Unparalleled, and it's very satisfying to be able to build things for the community, and just see the impact that you have day in and day out. It's very rewarding work.
Yeah, definitely. And I can see that with all the interviews that we've had here at the Daily Parks and Rec show. It's crazy how all that's tied to their why they show up every day, and how it often goes back to when they were deciding to get into this career, and then it's just stayed that way. Like it's still it's everything they thought it was going to be. Like they get to serve the community, make a difference, leave a legacy, build community. It never stops. And so
I
very
mean,
rewarding and fulfilling job.
I mean, it's you're building community, you're building equity, wellness, and safety and security. I mean, how many other professions can you truly say, provide, a one-stop shop for all of that in
Right.
community?
Yeah, it really is a beautiful profession. Okay, so at the end of our show, we have a little treat for everybody. My previous guest left you a question, and this is from Adam Blackmore in Louisville, Colorado. His question to you is, what is the most rewarding experience that you've had so far in Parks and Recreation?
I'll probably tie this into one of my favorite programs that we have here. The last several years, I've had such a wonderful opportunity to be able to host. Um, it's a home run derby that we have here, homers for the holidays. We have a home run derby. We have youth divisions in partnership with our youth softball association here. And then we tie it in with our adult softball leagues. We have an adult division too. But in collaboration with that, or in addition to that, we also do toy drive with Toys for Tots.
Oh, nice.
We are, it's a great opportunity to get to levels of play and people together to come together and enjoy a sport that they love, while also providing an opportunity to make a difference to the community through some donations and
Yeah.
and enjoy each other's company and compete and just make a difference. It's something that I've been very excited about and something that I've been very grateful to have here as
Yeah.
one of our programs.
All right. So another question I have, this has been a fun question. So if you had to pick an entry level job, can't be a management position, can't be a director, but maybe even after retirement, but is there like one entry level, maybe even part-time job that you would like to do full-time, maybe when you retire or in the early days that you really enjoyed?
I'd love to I'd love to continue to be around sports
Yeah.
in retirement one day.
What part of it? Like coaching or scorekeeper or a ref or?
They all kind of sound great to me. No, I could definitely see myself being a referee one day.
Yeah, you should do it.
In retirement.
We need them.
We definitely do. But coaching has always been something that's interested me. The parents of friends, my parents or my coaches growing up, and for the same reason I got into this field as a whole, just like I want to be able to provide the same experiences that I had growing up.
Yeah.
Being able to continue to do that in retirement would mean a lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I had on Aaron Locke show, I remember we had one of these high ranking, very successful officials. We've also had really good college coaches that have come on, and they said a parent should not be able to comment at a game unless they've been a ref for at least one game. Because it completely changes your mindset where you're just giving the refs just a hard time on every call, almost like for fun. But we desperately need as a country to have more people interested in being a sports official. I know that it's like an aging community. And so, if anyone's ever interested, and you can kind of speak to this, everyone in athletics or director is desperately looking for more sports officials to just kind of raise their hand and say, I'll do this. And it's kind of a paid gig too. Usually they make 50 to $100 per game. So it's pretty cool to be involved that way.
There's a lot of things though to be happy about with officiating. I know, at least in our community, we're seeing a lot of our youth associations start like youth umpiring and refereeing programs
Yeah,
where
I love that.
some of their senior most players get the opportunity to officiate for younger kids games, low stakes environment, and they get to learn about the game on a deeper level, and at the very least get a greater appreciation for the work officials are doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and hopefully kind of introduce a new generation to that
Oh, yeah.
as a career possibility.
Yeah. All right. So what question would you like to leave for my next guest?
Oh man, I feel bad. I don't have anything prepared.
It can be a fun question. So one of the questions we had was, if you were a piece of playground equipment, what would it be and why? Another one I remember was, how do you make your nachos? It was like a team building question. It can be anything along those lines. Maybe what's your greatest story in Parks and Rec? I don't know. So many great questions you can ask.
What is one thing that a park absolutely cannot function without?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's very broad, but I'd be very curious to see how certain Parks and Rec professionals bring their experiences into answering that question.
That's a great question. See, and you didn't even have one prepared. That was perfect. That was my fault. I didn't even tell you that you had to come up with a question. What is one thing that a Parks and Rec department absolutely cannot do without? So what are your thoughts on that?
It greatly depends on the functions that you want to have for your department. I'd say key among them, you had to have people that care a whole awful lot.
Yeah,
I
absolutely. That's a big one.
It makes all the difference to have
Yeah.
people who really have a deep passion about wanting to serve their community. Luckily, places like local government attract that.
Yeah.
But it's, it makes all the difference to have people who care very deeply about their work, and Parks and
Yeah.
Rec is a great field for that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Alan, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your experiences with it. Good luck with pursuing your master's degree. I know it's just going to take a lot of persistence, push that thing across the finish line. And thank you so much for choosing to follow in your father's footsteps and jumping in on the Parks and Rec career and serving your community. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Craig. Happy to have been a part of today's episode.
Yeah, fantastic. Have a great rest of your week.
You too.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye. All right, so another great interview from a son of a Parks and Rec professional. Oftentimes, kids like do the opposite of what they're. I know a lot of my children did the same thing. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and some of them, the last thing they wanted to be is an entrepreneur. But every once in a while, you get a kid that really follows in their parents' footsteps. And I know it is very rewarding to have your child kind of do the same work you did. And I kind of see that in Alan and his father. All right. So next we have safe spaces and green spaces coming up. Thomas White is following through on his suggestion to do this twice a month. So on the first and now on the third Wednesday of every month, Safe Spaces and Green Spaces with host Thomas White coming up here in a few minutes. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Thomas. Thank y'all for attending today's show. Don't forget to like and subscribe us, especially on YouTube, and encourage others so that we can get that account up and to stream live all our content on YouTube. And also you can find our content on Spotify now. So those of you wanting to listen to us on the audio version, you can now find us there. I appreciate all the love and support we're getting from the industry. Couldn't do it without y'all. And big hats off to Outdoor Link and the National Academy of Athletics for sponsoring today's show. See y'all here again tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. Love y'all. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by SDSU's Sports MBA program. If you're passionate about sports and want to work in the women's sports industry, then this is the time to pay attention. SDSU's program is 12 months accelerated hands-on learning where students have actually gotten to work with teams like the San Diego Mojo, partnered with the Farmers Insurance Open, and visited headquarters like the Upper Deck or Callaway Golf. It's built for people who want to be in rooms like that. So if you're interested, deadlines are approaching. Learn more or apply with the links in the description.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? DPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders, an audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through DPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with DPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention.